And welcome back, everybody. Phone lines open. We're going to get to those calls shortly. The number right there at the bottom of your screen. Your reaction to the Comey hearing today and really where we are with this whole Russia probe. Let's bring in our panel. Then we're going to take a look at some of the winners and losers, at least in my eyes, see if the guys agree. Dominic Carter, of course, political journalist and author, and Andrew Whitman, our senior political correspondent. All right, guys, real quickly, before we get to winners and losers, your big takeaway and defining moments from today.
You know, I think my big takeaway is that this isn't going away anytime soon. Nothing happened today that was definitive one way or another. I think we moved a little bit closer towards exposing some of the problems in the White House, but, you know, I don't think we're anywhere close to a resolution in that regard. And I don't think the Trump administration found itself out of the woods in any way, shape, or form. For me, the highlights of the day, I thought that Comey was excellent in sort of framing this as being Trump versus the FBI, not Trump versus Comey. I thought that was a big win for him in that regard. And I thought the biggest takeaway for the president was the confirmation that he wasn't under investigation those 3 times that he claimed in the letter that fired Comey. And I think you're starting to see the Trump White House really focus on that as one of the reasons why they think that they're in better shape today.
Same thing, Dominic. Was there a moment that really stood out for you, and when it was over, what'd you say?
Well, for one, Richard, I thought Republicans, what you've raised repeatedly over time of how long will they stand by this president, they took the party line a little bit, but they didn't as much. I saw them asking questions that said,
uh-oh, a whole bunch of
you know, the Republicans are getting sick of Donald Trump and his nonsense. So that's one. 2, the president, again, Mr. Comey acknowledging that he was not the president under investigation, but it appears by all accounts he is now, for in terms of how he's handled this, since, as I've said before, pushing Comey out the door was perhaps the worst thing he can do, and it accelerated everything. So it was a great day for Mr. Comey. It was payback time. And boy, did he do it on a number of fronts. So you said winners and losers?
Yeah,
certainly a loser was Sessions.
Let me give you something, and I'm with you, Dom, on that. So Comey himself considered a winner by most. So I would say is a point that Dominic just touched on. Senators Burr and Warner, the chairs, co-chairs of this, a Republican and a Democrat respectively here, working, I think, as a team, professional manner for all of us that were worried that it was going to be a sideshow like we've seen, the Hillary emails versus whatever. They largely stayed on topic, and they weren't the only two. When it comes to losers, well, it could have been worse for President Trump. I think Andrew's right. The fact that a lot of people are going to hear the 3 times you heard he wasn't under investigation was borne out by the testimony of Comey. Yes, I think that's true. I also think he managed to not tweet today, which we joke around here. But I think if you took an over-under bet here, I think the under would have won today. Nobody thought he would have had the impulse control to stop doing that. But I'll tell you another loser today, and that's who Dominic just mentioned. That's the Attorney General. Jeff Sessions, widely believed to come out far worse at the end of the day than when it started this morning. Sessions left the room, left Comey and Trump alone, even though he must have known that the right thing was, by all accounts, that he should have stayed. Comey also said today that he asked Sessions to advise Trump to stop contacting him, but Sessions reportedly did nothing, and there was a key moment in the testimony today by Comey, Andrew, where he clearly said, I'm not going to be able to talk about that when the subject of Sessions came up, leading a lot to believe, whoa, Sessions might be in this a whole lot deeper than originally thought.
Yeah, I think so. I think there were a couple of different areas where he said he couldn't testify in public. But I think Sessions came across, looking back, not just for that reason, but you know, it just seemed like there's not a lot of confidence coming from the Trump White House about Sessions. And I think Comey basically said, I had these concerns, but I didn't go to Sessions immediately because we figured he was going to recuse himself in a couple of weeks. I mean, he was sort of off on an island all by himself throughout all of this. I want to add one more name to the loser list if I can, which is John McCain, and I almost feel bad for him, but his question at the end were the most garbled set of incoherent messes that I've heard for quite some time.
A little cringeworthy.
Yeah, and then he issued a statement that he stayed up too late watching the Diamondbacks game last night. I mean, it just didn't make any sense.
I will say, guys, when you hear an FBI director, albeit a former one, very coherently look into it and make it clear that he considers not only the president a liar for having lied, but someone that was so casual with lying that he felt the need, unlike two other prior presidents from different political parties with those presidents, that he needed to take notes because he had no faith that the president had the capacity or interest in telling the truth.
The second he walked out of the first meeting at Trump Tower during the transition, I mean, talk about a bad first impression.
No, but just think about that. You have so little, and he came off as credible. Now, I know some people will say, oh, Rich, you're naive. I'm telling you, listen, the idea that you could walk out of a room with the president-elect and say, I can't trust this guy. This guy's going to lie through his teeth. I got to write these notes down contemporaneously, and I got to share it with other people. That's how bad it is. Okay, when we come back, I'm opening up those phone lines. We're going to go right to the calls as soon as we come back here. You see the number on your screen. I want your reaction to the defining moments of today, what you thought of the hearings, what you thought of the star witness, and where you think this goes from here for one President Trump. Stay with us.